Greetings everyone, and I hope you are doing well so far and you had a great week last week. So today it's another episode of Sunday Market Outlook. So I'm gonna start off with the XY as always. I'm gonna start off from daily time frame, then go to the down, go down to 4H and 1H. No. Okay, as you can see, I have the structure that I have drawn here. Sorry. So first of all, when you go to the weekly time frame here, let me hide all this. Yeah, as you can see, we have this overall trend. You can see we're still pushing to the upside here, and we've broken this structure here. This high, this high. So what I'll be looking for here, since we have broken this key area or this key area here, so to see if you're gonna reject from here or we're gonna continue push all the way to this key area or to this high. So when you go to daily, what I'm looking for here, as you can see, we broken this high, but how did we broke it? As you can see, we broke it structurally and in a corrective way, as you can see. So what I'm looking for here is to see either we're gonna continue push to the downside, or maybe this is gonna form something like a correction here and then continue push higher to these highs here or this one here. So when you go to 4H here, you can see how price is moving. We have a push and then a correct here, and we have this push and then a little bit of correction here, and as you can see now rejecting. So what I'm looking for, see if we're gonna get something like this, and then we sell off. If we're gonna sell off or gonna come to these areas and then continue push to the upside, so even have this structure that is here, that is just formed here, as you can see. Here. So there is a possibility that price might come, maybe forms continuation pattern here, and then we push all the way to the downside. Maybe to these lows remain to be seen, or we're gonna go all the way to the downside. But I just have to wait and see how price is gonna develop around this area here, because that is what it's gonna be. That is where you're gonna get like message from the market, what is happening or what it's more likely to happen next. So with that being said, so I'm gonna start off with my first pair on my top 6. And first pair on my top 6 is Canadian dollar versus Japanese yen. So I'm gonna start off from daily here, and then gonna go to smaller time frame. So you can see we have this downtrend here, and we clear or we broken this low. So what I'm looking for, as you can see, we're coming from a nice impulsive move here. So what normally happens is that we do have a push and then we correct and then we continue push. So there's few scenarios that I'm looking for here. It's whether price gonna maybe correct to form maybe a structure here and then continue push to the downside, or price gonna, as you can see, we close with this high, we can say the high test candle. So what I'm looking for here, see if you're gonna push, maybe get some continuation maybe to the upside. I'm targeting these highs here. So these two scenarios that I'm looking for here is whether we continue push to the downside or we're gonna push to the upside. But let's go to the lower time frame so that we're gonna clarify that. As you can see here, we have this push and then correct it and then have a push. So what I'm looking for now to see if price gonna form maybe continuation pattern, which is gonna be continue moving lower after this impulsive move. So and another scenario here, it's if we're gonna continue push to the upside, then I'll see if we're gonna get some continuation patterns like so, then you continue push to the upside. So what I can say over is that excuse me, I'm just gonna wait to see how price gonna develop during the week, whether we're gonna continue push to the downside or we're gonna push to this. If we push to the upside, then I'll be waiting for some clear confirmation around this area. Then okay, we're gonna more likely to go to the upside, because if you go to the higher time frame, you can see like we have a downtrend, more downtrend, as you can see. Like here we broken this low and then come here and then push, coming to this high here, as you can see, and then you continue push and then you broken this low. So there is a possibility that price might push all the way to this high, then you continue push to the downside, or you can correct something like this and then go. So we just have to wait for the price to develop, then take it from there. So my next pair on the list is Euro Japanese yen. So on this one, as you can see, we have a nice downtrend to the downside, as you can see, and then you broken this structure here, as you can see, and then now price starting to reject. So what I'm looking for here, as you can see, overall trend, you can see we have a nice push to the downside and then price started to correct here. And when you see here, there's no clear, like a clean structure. Like here, as you can see, we pushed and here we pushed. Like you can see here, we're moving corrective. Only this one candle here that you can see that we have a clear push to the downside. So when you go to 4H, this structure that is forming here. So what I'll be looking for here to see if maybe price gonna come to this low to form a double bottom, then see if we're gonna continue push to the upside, and then something like this, targeting this high here. So comparing this scenario from the one that I was explaining on CADJPY, as you can see, on CADJPY we broken this low impulsively, and here we broken this low structurally. As you can see, there is a structure of which we've broken here correctively. So it's more likely that we're gonna push to the upside, you know. Excuse me. So that is the first scenario. If we're gonna push it from here, and then I'll see if we're gonna clear these highs, and then it come back into these lows, and then can continue push to the upside like this. and then we'll see targeting this high. Because what I'm looking for here, it's something like this. As you can see, we have this touch and this touch, and then we have this touch here and this touch. You can see, you can see we have 1, 2, and then a possible third touch here. So you can see you have a clear middle section here. So if we get this flag here, or a structure is gonna be formed here, will be a perfect message that, oh, okay, we'll continue pushing to the upside, coming to for completion of this structure is 1, 2, and 3. Then continue push to the downside. No. So this is what I'll be looking for. If then you continue push to the downside, it's fine. Then see if you do get some clear structure, then take it to the downside. Okay, and my third pair on my top 6 list, it's Euro vs New Zealand dollar. So starting from daily, as you can see, this most recent price action here, you can see we have a nice push to the upside. As you can see, there's this high, previous high, and then we can say we've broken it because you can see we have these 2 weeks here that has happened last week. So what I'm looking for here, as you can see, we came here impulsively, so there is a possibility that price can maybe correct and then continue push to the upside. Like as you can see, impulse, correcting, and corrective move, and then we push again. So yeah, that is what I'm looking for, and I'm aware of that can happen. But regarding how we close here, you can see those weak rejections here. So there's a possibility that you might reject from here and then maybe push to these lows, or continue push to the downside. We're targeting these lows because you can see we have a clear ascending channel here, and price been moving correctively for some time now. So there's few scenarios that I'll be looking for. See if we push and then first flag, then continue push to the downside, or if maybe price gonna move correctively maybe to these areas, or gonna push correctively to this high here, and then that will be another lovely opportunities as well. So when you go to 4H, you can see price push, and then after this push you see there's a corrective move here, but look how price was moving to the upside. So that is what I'm saying, there's a possibility that we can maybe push to these areas and then maybe come back for a first flag, then we continue push to the downside, which will be first, third, and the first, second touch, and the third touch, then we continue to the downside. So yeah, that's it for this pair. And my next pair, it a pound US dollar. So I'm gonna start off from daily as well as see. So first of all, what I'm looking for, where we like over the trend, you can see we're pushing to the downside, and where is our key area? You can see our key area right here. So what could happen here is that we can reject from here, maybe push and continue push to the upside, or we can continue break this low and then continue to the downside, maybe to these lows. Or so what I'm looking for here is to see if price gonna fill this week here, or we gonna come correctively here, then something like this, and then push to the upside, or we're gonna continue moving to the downside. No. So when you go to 4H, you can see that overall been moving correctively until these areas. You can see we push and then we have a correction and then we pushed, but after we reach here, you can see now it's like price, it's like it's correcting toward this low, toward this key level. So if we're gonna move on this fashion, that would be lovely, because when you go to the 1H, excuse me, when you come here, to see if we're gonna come to these lows and then something like this, and then it'll be perfect setup. Or we form maybe a bigger structure than this, something like this, you know, like we move corrective and then break this low with the structure, then I'll know that okay, something's happening, then take a message from the market, then whether we take it to the upside or to the downside. And my fifth pair on the list, it's New Zealand dollar vs US dollar. So from daily, as you can see, the overall trend of the market, you can see we've been pushing to the downside. And look what happened here. We have this push and then price started to correct, and then now we have this push. So what is it's more likely to happen next is to correct, or that we go to the downside, or we correct maybe in this fashion, coming to these highs here, and then we continue to the downside. So what I'm looking for is to see if we can get some opportunities from this low to this high before we continue with the move to the downside. As you can see, impulsive move and then correcting, and then we push something like this and then go to the downside. So for now, as you can see, our structure, this is bigger structure or outer structure. As you can see, if push and then correct and then push and then correct, and then it came here to this level correctively. So that is why I'm saying I'm more looking for the upside move, maybe to these areas here. Then we'll see how price gonna react around these areas, or how price gonna develop around these areas. As you can see now, price starting to reject here. So they're gonna move correctively like this and then break to the downside, or gonna form something like this and then push to the upside. So you just have to wait and apply patience, and then gonna take it from there. And my last pair on my top 6, I guess, it's US dollar vs Canadian dollar. So as you can see here, overall we have a nice uptrend, and price rejected to this high. As you can see, we closed with this high test. So what I'm looking for is to see if we're gonna continue push to the downside. So if we do get some possible move to the downside, and then I'll be waiting to see if we get some structure here, and then see if we can get some opportunities to take it to the downside, or maybe price gonna push, maybe move corrective toward this high, and then we sell off. That is another scenario as well. So when you go to the 4H, you can see already price is already committed to the downside. So just waiting to see if we're gonna get that first flag, and then gonna take it to the downside. And on my all cards, what I'm looking, what pairs that I'm focusing on for next week, it's the first one is Australian dollar, US Canadian dollar. So I'm gonna start off from daily here. As you can see a structure, let me remove this. Yeah. Overall trend, you can see we've been pushing to the downside, and we have this low here. As you can see, this candle here. So, and this clear channel that is forming here. So what I'm looking for here is to see if price gonna come all the way to this low, or excuse me, or maybe gonna reject from these areas, and then if we form some structure here, then it'll be good to go, and then it'll be a lovely opportunity to take it from these areas and then to the upside. So when you go to lower time frame, that is where it's getting more clear. As you can see, we have this recent structure here, this structure here, 1, 2. So what I'm looking for is, you can see here, see if gonna continue to this area, and then we push and then form some flag here, and then continue push to the upside. If we do reject to these areas, then it'll be lovely trade take it from these areas to the upside, and be targeting this high, or overall this high here from this rail line. So my next pair is a pound vs Canadian dollar. So instead of from daily, you can see we're pushing, like we're moving corrective, and then you push here, come back, and then you push, and then form this corrective structure, and then you push to the upside to this key level. As you can see, it break it. So what I'm looking for here is to see whether I can continue push maybe to these lows or this low. As you can see, of this structure that was formed here within this structure here. So when you go to the 4H, so you can see this one is looking, it's similar scenario like how I'm planning to play a pound, like USDCAD. As you can see, already push here. So waiting for the first flag, and then see if do get some opportunities to the downside, or might push and then form maybe something like this as a mini double top or a double top here, and then I'll be happy to take a risk entry for something like this, and then take it to the downside. So I'm just waiting to see how price gonna develop during the week. And the last pair on my list is it's pound versus Japanese yen. So I'm starting from daily. You can see I've been pushing to the downside and now starting to reject to this area. So possible scenarios that we reject from here and then maybe continue come to these highs here, or we push something like this and then we sell off. We continue push to the downside. So I'm focusing more on what is going to happen here. So if we move collectively toward this key level, then I'll see that something maybe the reversal is more likely to happen, like to reject and then continue to push to the upside. But if you're gonna continue with this momentum, then break or something like this, then it'd be good to go to take it to the downside. So that's it for today's guys. So if you have some questions, you can drop them on the comment below this video, or you can reach me on my Telegram channel. So I hope you find this video helpful, and please share it with your friends and subscribe, and I'll see you soon on the next video. Thank you guys.